recording now. I thought it was recording. No. Sorry, bro. Got on you.
No, it's good. I was just going to give you an intro, so it's fine.
All good.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the 1% podcast. I'm buzzing to have my man, Scott Rogers, on the podcast. How are we doing, Scott?
I'm very well, my man. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. We kind of had a little conversation off scene. We're just doing the same shit as we've done for a while and things like that. But no, it's literally it, mate. But if anyone doesn't know who Scott is, and mate, you get in a taxi and the taxi driver is just like, yo, what do you do for a living? What do you do? How do you survive? What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Mate, that's a tough one, to be fair, because I don't know what it is. I just panic and I freeze when people go, what's your occupation? Because I'm like, I'm a bit of everything. Like, I'm an online coach. I run local kind of fitness camps. I do that more as a hobby now rather than a job, but obviously I still get paid for it. But I just really enjoy it. The kind of, I've done, during lockdown when it was just online, I missed that kind of interaction with people.
Yeah.
So as much as I love doing online coaching, I like that little 45 minutes most days that I get out and just interact with people and have a laugh whilst exercising. So yeah, obviously, I think last time we spoke, you were on my podcast, and that's when I had my supplement store as well. So
shit, yeah,
that's a couple of years ago now. Well, I got rid of it in January before the world went turmoil. But so now it's pretty much just online coach and then fitness coach, if you like. That's kind of what I label it as.
Yeah, sick. No, I've to be fair, all you like actually just dabbling in kind of the face-to-face side of it, that does fucking good. Like I've seen that, like you get big groups of like out in the park and things like that. It's massive, isn't it? Like it generally is. I don't glamorize it in any way, shape, or form when I get inquiries and stuff. I'm like, look, it's a bunch of kit in a field with like-minded people. Yeah.
And because it is that basic, it's so enjoyable.
But the thing
45 minutes, get moving, bit of music, and it's a good crack, man.
But that's kind of I love when you just say simple, because I feel like I've had a lot of clarity over the last 6 months with kind of direction of what I want and my future, and even just day-to-day things like business and coaching and how to talk to people. I'm like, simple shit, just simple. Like it's 100%. Really not hard. It's like for example, your class, right? It's going to be, we got fucking slam balls, battle ropes. We're going to do some ladder work. We're going to go for a sprint, go for a jog on this section, right? 45 seconds here, 45 seconds there, 45 seconds there, rotate. Do you know what I mean? And like, 100%. That's it. Like the simplistic you make things in life, it just works. And that's probably why it works. The concept, you're like, yeah, come along. We're just going to roll around in the dirt a little bit. When it's cold, put a jumper on.
This is it, mate. It's exactly that. And I've got like almost like the best of both worlds, where I'd like to think I'm keeping up with the times with the online coaching, all the new systems and sheets and the glamorous side of it. But then I've also got just the kind of get stuck in, and it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to try. I went with a business coach. I won't go too far into it, but I went with a business coach and it was amazing. Don't get me wrong. And we did everything on the online stuff. And they're like, right, we're going to tackle your boot camp. I was like, no, you're not. Like,
that's my
you're not doing anything with that. We're not charging X amount of money. We're not, doing Facebook ads. Like, it is what it is. And I'm not joking. I don't think I've ever had an inquiry that's never come through a referral.
Yeah.
And it's like
word of mouth, man. It's the best thing.
It's exactly that, word of mouth. Or I've got like a little sign that's up where I do it, like just in the local field. And like you say, I never try to sell it for something that it's not. It's dirty. It's 45 minutes of just graft, but we have fun.
Yeah, mate.
And yeah, it is what it is, mate. You can't really do much more with it.
No, that's it. And it's funny, even you talking about, I've had 2 business coaches as well. And right now I'm just doing my own thing, because a lot of time I've been to a couple of seminars recently, and the way to scale things is do the basics things, but just more volume of it.
Sure.
And it's kind of the same as like a lot of things, right? With training, if someone's training 3 times a week, how do you get faster results? How do you get better results? I'm like, 4 times a week.
Yeah. Like, just keeping it simple, isn't it?
Simple always works, man. And bringing it back to you. So I want to dive into, because I don't know this and I want to know this. What's the beginning of your life like? What was your upbringing like? What was things like that like? Was it sport and fitness related? Were you a geek? What was it? What was it like?
100%. So sport has always been the pinnacle, like from start to now to probably to the day I die, I'll still be moving in some capacity. the first thing I remember from childhood was just having a football at my feet, and nothing else. Nothing else was really
I thought you were going to say
apparent. I
nothing
don't
else.
remember.
No undies, no shoes, just a football.
Yeah, yeah, just a football, mate. Nothing else. It probably was, mate. If I find some old
Probably was,
tapes or
yeah.
whatever, you call
We'll
it
use
back,
that as the
it
thumbnail
probably
of
was.
the visit. So we just
Yeah,
crop
something
out
like
the
that, mate.
penis, and that's it.
Just put the ball over it on them little model shoots. But yeah, it was always football, mate. Football, football, football. My old man played football at a high level, so it was kind of drilled into me. So that was growing up was just football, football, football. I then got released from like a scholarship for being too small because I'm only like 5'9" now. I'm hoping I'm still gonna have that spout somewhere, but I think I'm
Yeah, so,
over it now.
so you were playing at a kind of like a county scholarship level football.
Yeah, so I was at an actual kind of football club as a scholar, if you like, a young lad playing like the year above myself as well. So I think I was almost like I just assumed I'd always be a footballer, as naive as that is. Like I just assumed there was nothing else. I was just a footballer. 6 days a week, like having days off school to go play football, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it got drilled into me so much as a kid that I actually, funny enough, I was a skinny kid, like very, very skinny kid.
Mm.
And you'll realize why I say that's funny in a second. But so skinny that at 8 years old, the football club drew my parents in for a meeting and gave it the whole like he's got the talent, blah blah blah. But we want to put him on a diet, like a bulk up plan. And I
At
never
that
let my
age.
dad forget it. But at 8 years old, yeah, straight up. And I remember I had to go in a suit and all sorts. It was so weird. And my dad turned around and said pretty much what you said. He's 8, like he's not going on a meal plan.
Yeah.
6 months later, they released me for being basically too small. So I then like that's it. I was finished. Like I remember like sulking pretty much. Fell out of love with football. Didn't play for a little while. And then obviously just kind of started playing locally with friends and whatnot. But yeah, it kind of didn't really know what to do after that, to be fair, even at that age. And then went into senior school. Still at this point, still skinny, like still like winning all the cross countries and shit like that. Just a proper like just sport basically. The only lesson I enjoyed was PE, like simple, nothing else mattered kind of thing. So I knew I would end up in fitness of some kind or some sport related job going forward. But that's when like I think my first taste looking back at it now of like entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So I'd like flip 4 Mars bars for £1 for £2.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember doing that with cigarettes. I never even smoked.
yeah.
I used to sell cigarettes.
Really? It's probably yeah. There was a good markup back in the day, weren't there? You'd make a killing. I never went down that route, but it was always like I don't know.
Go to the corner shop and you'd buy like
yeah,
a pack of Haribo and you for £1 and you sell them for £2. Yeah.
100%. Like this was when like Jamie Oliver did his thing and removed burgers and stuff at school.
Yeah.
So no one wanted the kind of school food. So if you
Yeah.
were late for school or whatever and you didn't get a chance to go to the shop before, you'd basically got to a point where you'd come to me.
Yeah. Cool.
Scott, what have you got today? And I'd literally be like, whoop, and then you get what you want. And I was flipping deals like, I'll do your Lucasade and a Mars bar for 150. Like honestly, it was carnage. And that's when things started to turn. So I started making money by doing that. But then it got to a point where I fell out of love with sport a little bit. And the 2 Mars bars that were profit, I'd eat. Oh, I'm losing you a bit there.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Am I good, yeah?
Yeah.
So basically, it would be a case of make the money back for the products that I've sold, but I was eating my profit. And it was kind of like, again, I was a skinny kid at this point, but slowly but surely, you know what happens if you're eating in a surplus. I didn't know that then, but I was just loving life, just eating all these sweets.
If I eat 6 Mars bars a day, I'll definitely gain some weight.
Yeah. If only someone told me that at that point, because I was just naive to think I'd just eat what I want. I mean, I was living off pot noodles when I was going to football and stuff like that. So living the dream. And then kind of at the same time, I got diagnosed with low iron to a point where like I was on some really strong drugs and stuff like that. But it got to a point where I would do PE and then take, because obviously you only did PE like twice a week at school. I would do PE and take the next day off school because I couldn't get out of bed. I was so tired.
Oh shit.
Yeah, proper shit. So at the point where I'm starting to eat a fair bit of calories, at the same time I've got low iron and practically now getting signed off that I can't do PE because I take the next day off school.
Yeah.
I then moved less, ate more. We all know what that equates to. And I started piling on. And when I say pile it on, I was like, I think my biggest was like 17 stone and I was 14.
Fuck, that's a big kid, isn't it?
And as I mentioned, I'm 5'9", probably what, I don't know, 5'6", 5'5" at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was literally like a circle. So at that point, you know, I've always been playing at a decent level of sport, no matter what it was, winning the cross countries, you know, captaining football teams or whatever, to a point then when I'm not even getting picked because of the obvious reasons. I'm just so unfit.
Yeah.
I'm now not making school football teams, or I'm maybe getting on the bench when I'm used to captaining. I'm now not coming first in cross country. I remember I did sports day and came last in my event, which was like 1500 meters, which is not a lot. But at the time I was like, yeah, I'll walk it. I'm still naive to think that I've still got the same fitness levels, even though I'm double the person of what I used to be.
Yeah.
So that was really hard. And until I got older and look back, I probably suffered quite a lot with that as a overall picture, like of what I've just mentioned, but then how it then affected my life.
Yeah, from a
Because I didn't
psychological
understand
aspect,
it.
right? Yeah, 100%.
It was really confusing. So that was the hard part. So
How
then
long did that, sorry, how long did that kind of time frame last for?
it lasted for, so it probably came about year 7, 8. I was still captain of the school team, like running and stuff like that at county level. And then I reckon year 9 was that kind of like hit me when the weight went on. And
Yeah, so
yeah,
like
it was a
6
good
years
amount
old?
of weight. It must have been like, looking back at it now, it's probably gaining like half a stone to a stone most kind of month, quarterly, something like that. Every couple of months, just putting on a stone. So yeah, I must have put on like a good 5 stone within a year, I reckon, something like that.
Oh, shit.
So it happened pretty rapidly. And that carried on all through school. So left school probably when I sorted the iron levels out, I think as I got more active, a little bit come off. I
Yeah.
was still a big lad. Like I look back at photos and stuff when I was at school, like, you know, the time hops come up and that, and I'm like, shit, like when it's your mate's birthday, like fuck me, we changed a bit.
Yeah.
So then I think either year 10 or year 11, you do work experience, don't you, at school, where you go and actually work for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I didn't really care. I was like, just put me anywhere. To a point where they were like, we've got nowhere to put you. You got to find your own. So I was like, shit, I don't know what to do. I'm still liking sport, still follow sport. So I just texted my mates and stuff. And one of my mates' mums worked at a gym.
Okay.
I think it was like an LA fitness job. Managed to get like work experience there. So I just went in and, you know, started off, and that was it. Then that was the trigger.
Nice, man.
So basically when I wasn't, you know, restocking the shelves or whatever, or work, like tapping people's cards as they come in, saying hello to people, they said, just do what you want, mate. Like go play on the machines or whatever. To sign me off, I had to do a spin session, follow, not literally me, but like being involved in a spin session, stuff like that. And that's when I just fell in love with it, mate. Like fully fell in love with it for 2 weeks, but I was still 14, 15. And at that time, you couldn't be a member till you were 16.
Oh.
So I remember telling my mum, like, on my 16th birthday, that's what I want, gym membership, simple. But I couldn't do anything about it for another like
Like
year or something like that. It was quite frustrating because in my head, I still knew what I wanted to do. I'd walk past the gym every day, probably going to Tesco, walk past the gym every day and be like, 6 more months, I'm coming for you, kind of thing. But yeah, that's what I remember. And then no word of a lie, 16th birthday, signed up. Yeah. I then trained there for like 3 years, ended up becoming a manager there. It was really strange. Like everything happens for a reason, doesn't it?
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Funny enough, the guy who signed me off on my spin like assessment, if you like, is now a coach for my brand.
No way, that's fucking sick.
Mad, isn't it? So I literally went to his wedding like 2 days ago.
That's insane.
So he's now a coach that works for the SR Fitness brand, which is amazing. And we always chat about like old days and stuff like that. Just mad. Really is mad. I don't even remember the original question, but we're going through a little bit of a lifespan here.
No, it's good because it's interesting because obviously from like number one, knowing what you want to do at 15, 16 years old and actually still doing it to this day is pretty incredible. Like, man, I think I wanted to be a carpenter. Well, no, it's a lie. I was a professional athlete at that point. So I wanted to be a professional kayaker still.
Yeah, I remember you saying.
But obviously that's changed. But it's very interesting just to see because obviously from a 16 years old, because where are you now? We're the same age, right? Maybe 28. Okay, yeah. So I'm 27, yeah. So yeah, fucking hell, man. So for a decade, is that 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years.
For 10 years, man. And that's crazy. And then all that's happened is just the progression over that time, right?
100%. So I think for my first 2 months of becoming a member at this gym, I went like every day, sometimes twice a day, like overtraining, don't get me wrong. Online coaching wasn't a thing back then, so guidance was pretty minimal. I then, still a good friend of mine now, I then reached out to one of the guys who worked there, who was like an in-house PT. He helped me once a week. The £30 came from my EMA when I was at college.
Sick.
Remember that? I think my mum was self-employed or something, so I managed to blag it that I could get 30 quid a week.
Mine was as well. Mine was exactly the same.
Got, shouldn't have had it, but I'll take it to this day. I don't know if tax man's going to get it back off me, but yeah, literally that would come in on the Thursday. I'd have a PT session with him on the Friday. Just got obsessed, like fully obsessed with it. And at the time we were just concentrating on getting the weight down. That was the main thing. And it just literally, as I mentioned, I was obsessed with it. So I must have had myself, with the education I have now, I must have been in like 1,000 calorie deficit daily. Like it was just nuts. Like I look back again at photos, it's just like chicken breast and salad for lunch, just salad all the time. Training. And before I knew it, I'd gone from 17 odd stone to then like stick thin. Like not an ounce of muscle mass on me, but like stick thin. Just training, not like ill stick, but like just really, really skinny lad. And then obviously I've got probably my original child confidence back. I went off and did like my seasons in Spain and stuff like that, like repping, selling tickets. And that really put me out of my comfort zone, because I think the flip reversal of going from a thin kind of captain of a football team confidence guy to then the big guy, that kind of naivety to think I'm still the original guy then flipped, because now I'm the skinny guy still having them demons that I'm the big guy. Does that make sense?
I guess even to this day,
it's really weird.
I guess from kind of repping and stuff all the way through till kind of 28 now, right? Do you still have those moments where you think you're one or the other?
I think I'm better now. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I saying that as a 28-year-old now. However, I would say when I first took the step back into the industry, because I took a little 3-year break out of fitness, I got to kind of like glass ceiling in the gym, couldn't really get anywhere. So I went out, did recruitment for 3 years. I always knew I wanted to get back into fitness, but I don't regret the recruitment stuff, because it's helped me run a business, get a bit mentally stronger, cold call, all that jazz.
All this sort of stuff.
100%. So I think it's a definite positive that came out of leaving the industry, but I always knew I want to go back in. But what I mean by that is stepping back into the industry, I was not sure if I had the confidence in the industry, because at that point, I'm thinking like 5 years ago, I think the industry, you did have to be like shredded.
There was that time period, wasn't there?
And obviously working in office for 3 years, I still trained throughout that, but I wasn't anything like that. I was a bit like, I'd never say I was shy, because I wasn't ever a shy person, but I was a bit enclosed and thinking, right, I think I didn't post a topless photo until like 3 years into being an online coach. Like my first dying phase. But what I meant by that is the original thing is I never wanted to go on a gaining phase. For the thought of putting on weight. Like terrible relationship with food up until a couple of years ago. Like awful. Off-plan meal would be like a challenge of how much food I can eat. Like
fine, I have that problem.
I think I'm better now. Like don't get me wrong, I'll put it away, but I'll get back on it. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's the nice thing. Obviously, we're going to touch onto this as well, and I think that's the nice thing about your transition as well, is that I do believe that the transition that you've made is psychologically much healthier and better, if you want to call it that, healthy and better. Because like I'm too fucking head over heels and sucked into bodybuilding right now, and I will be for the next good couple of years whilst I hunt this goal that I want. But it is just the extremes. There is the extremes. Like I can control myself with food, but like you say, I'm like, I could just fucking go in and put myself into a coma, like quite happily. But I think, like you say, like now that you're in a better position, that you know, like, oh, actually, like I can control this, and it's probably that nice transition as well. Going on a ramble.
No, definitely in a better place now. I can turn it on and off pretty easily now. Like I'm pretty confident with that. I have an off-plan meal most weeks because there's no real direct goal right now. Obviously, if I'm dieting down for something, I'll be a bit more kind of
But you can still keep that meal in.
Yeah.
Be steak and sweet potato fries instead of like
Yeah.
a carbonara.
Yeah. Whereas before it was like just tunnel vision, but then when I'm off the rails, it's like
I'm
good
off.
luck getting me back on. I don't stop till I'm like sick,
Yeah.
which is not a good thing to do. I always used to be conscious of putting stuff on my Instagram, like can't have an off-plan meal, and I was
Do
like,
you know
what
what
am
the thing
I
is?
doing?
Do you know what? I'm so glad you said this shit because I feel like coaches need to defend themselves when they eat fucking stupid amounts.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
You know what I mean? It's like when, like, I think it's a bodybuilding thing. I do think it is that. Like when
Yeah,
you're so regimented, they're like, oh, I had a day off, but I deserve it. I'm like, you don't need to defend yourself.
yeah.
Just like everyone knows you're disciplined as fuck. Like have a day off. I think it's because it does more for their not ego potential. I don't want to say the word ego, but it's almost for their being like it's giving them
Reassurance.
their reassurance if they post it, sort of thing. Vice versa. I don't know. It's that weird thing. I'm like, because we're all humans. Like everyone,
100%.
like when people go like it's like, oh, I emotionally eat. I'm like, so does fucking everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone
100%.
emotionally eats. Everyone stress eats. Everyone, or vice versa, they don't eat. There's that. Do you know what I mean? I think there's this weird, like, it's kind of what I hate with like coaches. So any coach.
I completely agree. The weirdest thing, like this sounds silly, but like conversation I had with my missus the other day, she wanted, we were going to get like a takeaway, like a McDonald's or something like that as our off-plan meal.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I take your car? Because I've got a branded vehicle now. And I was
Okay.
like, I can't be seen to be driving a fitness vehicle through a McDonald's drive-through. But I was like, why am I having to justify that I can't do that? Knowing even if someone was to take a photo and post it, tag me or whatever.
And then you can be
Can
like,
you just imagine it?
Yeah, but it's so true. You'd be like, yeah, I got a Diet Coke and what? Or completely
It's mad.
opposite. Or I fucking went in, guys, and guess what? I can stay in shape whilst eating 6 quarter pounders, French fries, all this.
Yeah. It was mad. I was like, I can just see a social media post going up or a tag of me, like the van with the McDonald's sign like that. I'd be like, do you know what I mean? I could just see it. So I was just, I don't know why I consciously didn't use that
we all
vehicle.
do it. We all do it 100%. Like,
But it shouldn't be like that, should it? It's just,
no, but I think it's because it comes down to our own self because I think we know how structured we are and things like that, and we know, or quote unquote, is it bad? But I'm like, I think it's because coaches and things like that have probably the worst body dysmorphia out of everyone. Worst kind of relationship with food. Like we're very good at coaching. Like I know you're an incredible coach and things like that.
Thank you, mate.
We can give the great advice and things like that because we know. Because I'm like, I know because I've fucking done it and I fuck it up all the time and I still fuck it up.
yeah, definitely, mate.
Like almost being, it's not hypocritical, but it's just being like, it's like I'm you, like I am you. The reason I'm a coach is because I suffered exactly the same. I suffer exactly the same still.
No, I agree, and that's why, like, another reason why I went into coaching, because I had that journey and that kind of transition. Like for me and my clients, I'm so relatable.
I think we're both.
When I can turn around and say, like, I've literally had your shoes on, like it is doable.
Yeah,
I think that's what, it's not just me, there's other people out there and stuff, but it's very, for me, when I was growing up, it's very hard for me to relate to someone or a coach who was born like shredded, never had an issue with food or anything like that. It was very hard. Maybe it's just the kind of clientele that I have, maybe, where I can kind of say, look, I've been through it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can help you. Do you know what I mean?
I think the big thing is that I noticed between like even our similarities is that we're very transparent. Like, I know when I see you on social media, that is you.
Yeah, 100%.
I've had conversations you through texting and all this sort of stuff, and it's exactly the same. Vice versa, if anyone like sees me, I'm like, yeah, I wear my heart on my sleeve and I fucking cry. I'm a crier, big deal. That's just how it works. So I'm like that. I think that's the biggest thing. That's why people find you relatable. Because at the end of the day, like, mate, loads of people can teach a push up just because you have IFBB or fucking CrossFit Games opening top coach. I'm like, it doesn't mean like I can still teach someone to do a push up.
Sure.
Because actually 95% of the people we work with are lifestyle clients.
Yeah, that's it for me. And that's hit home massively over the last kind of like 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
I got to a point where I was putting out content or saying certain things because I was living my own journey.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's like, that's not my targeted audience. Do you know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't actually care what X, Y, Z thinks. It's only the people that ultimately is going to become a client or be part of my little community that I worry about their opinion or care about their opinion. Nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess kind of cool. So where are we? You come out recruitment. How are you? Like what, 24, 25 when you come out recruitment?
No, a little bit longer, about 23, I think, maybe.
Okay, cool.
23.
And then you went from
5 years.
there back into, did you do your own thing or did you go back into the
So
gym?
yeah, straight into my own thing. So the thing with recruitment is like, it's very cutthroat. And if you're good, you're good. And if you're bad, you're terrible and you'll leave after 3 months.
Yeah.
I happen to be okay. I actually happen to be all right. And I earn some decent money.
Because it's a lot of it's commission based and things like that, right?
Yeah, luckily I worked for a little independent company, and they looked after you in terms of like company benefits and a decent base and things like that. Training was good. So yeah, I was quite lucky in that front. I only had one employee in the recruitment days, and I stayed there until the day I left. But yeah, I was quite lucky in terms of that. But I realized like the only day I enjoyed in recruitment was payday.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm living for 12 days a year. Like, this ain't going to serve me for a long period. Do you know what I mean? But the problem is, once you're earning that sort of money, and I'm getting older at this point, 23, I'm starting to get out, holidays, misses, stuff like that. It's very hard to then go, right, I'm going to be like, and no disrespect because I've done it myself, but I'm not going to go be a gym instructor on 15, 16K at 23, 24 years old. I don't want to do that.
Not when you've had a salary of X amount, right? And bonuses and things like that. You know, you're, well, I'm 23. Why would I downgrade?
Yeah. And I knew there was going to be a bit, don't get me wrong. But I was like, how can I earn a living doing what I want to do without taking too many steps back?
Yeah. No, I get that.
So, I just went, you know what, I'm just going to give it a crack. Like, when you're in recruitment, if you've been in it for a good amount of time, it's quite, again, not being arrogant, but it's quite easy to get another job in recruitment if you've got background in recruitment.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you pay for your own seat. Like, you're on, like you say, you've got a good commission base. So for you to get commission, you have to earn the company money. So they're willing to take a gamble. Do you know what I mean? Because if you earn them money, you earn your own money. That's kind of how it works. So I knew, look, if this doesn't work out doing fitness or going to be my own boss, then I could just get a job back in recruitment. Like, go on LinkedIn, you'll get a job tomorrow. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So I started off just hammering everything. So online, started creating a profile, doing stupid things like, I don't know, I think I was doing stuff like, what do you call it? What do you call when you give your opinion on something?
Commenting?
Yeah, commenting, like, I was reviewing, that's it.
Oh.
I was reviewing like grenade bars, like, to start with, just creating a bit of traction. I was then reviewing local gyms.
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, if you're looking for a gym, like, this one was this was good about it. Started creating a bit of traction. People were DMing me, what's this gym like? So I just started on socials, basically. That was the first thing I did. And then second to that, I just got back in with a little bit of one-to-one stuff. I had all my qualifications from back in the day.
Yeah.
I did a couple of refresher courses just to get myself back in the mix, but a little bit of PT, a little bit of Group X. So just covering a few classes in local gyms, still as a contractor, almost still self-employed, just working within a facility. And then, just started the boot camp. I actually got chucked in at the deep end. So it was the Monday, and I was starting my first ever free boot camp. I did a free boot camp on the Friday just to get numbers in and see. I said, I'll give you it for free, but the only thing you need to do for me is fill out a feedback form. Yeah. Which I thought was quite good. So they literally turned up. I trained them for free, 45 minutes, exactly what I do now. And just gave them a feedback sheet at the end saying, like, how was this? How was this? What sort of money would you pay for this kind of session? Just getting a bit of like data.
Yeah, mate, fucking great.
And then, the following week, I then launched SR Fitness boot camps.
Yeah, implemented it. Yeah, simple.
Just off the back of that. And I started with 5s and 6s, built it kind of thing. But got chucked in the deep end because a fellow coach who I had on my social media, I watched and almost like aspired because they ran their own boot camp, just randomly reached out to me and said, I've lost my voice. Can you cover my boot camp on Wednesday?
Yeah.
I did say to them, like, I haven't done one, but I'm setting my own up on Friday. They're like, yeah, no, I trust you. Like, I feel you're going to be able to do it, kind of thing. Turned up 6 a.m., 58 clients at this boot camp.
Fucking hell.
I'm not joking. And it was kind of like sink or swim.
Yeah.
First 5 minutes, obviously, like a few words didn't come out and a bit like that. But as soon as it started, I kind of got into my groove. And I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Sick, man.
And I got some nice feedback and things like that. And then I think because I jumped into that deep end, going to Friday, and I think I had maybe 16 people at my kind of
16 was
like free one. I was like, this is a breeze. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if I just turned up 16 people, I might have froze because it was my own boot camp and I might have been turned off it. So I think that was kind of like the best thing that happened in the early doors, was just saying yes to an opportunity when I could have easily gone, nah, fuck that. Do you know what I mean? Like, not, she said it'd be busy, don't get me wrong, but she didn't say what.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Mate,
okay, swing.
mate, that's the literally, we can just literally name this episode that. Literally,
Yeah.
just like, just fucking take risks, say yes, go.
Yeah, 100%. And this is it. I'm always a big advocate of like, it's better to have tried and failed than never to have tried at all.
Oh mate, 100%. Like, I can't imagine. It's like regret. Can you imagine? Like, I always think of it. It's like the typical thing. Like, think about like, imagine if you're gonna die, and you're like, I wish I did that.
Yeah.
That's a horrible thought.
It's a very honest thought. And when I mentioned about the transition back into being a coach, it's exactly what happened. Like, my niece, she died of cancer when she was 21, and that was 5 years ago.
Man.
And the next day, I decided I was going to leave my job, because exactly that, like, life's too short. It's better to have tried and failed, never to have tried at all. And if I would have sat there and gone throughout the rest of my life and never gone back, I might still be in recruitment now, just miserable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, my man, good on you.
So it was important to do something like that. And obviously now I haven't looked back since. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's amazing, man.
Which is good.
It's sometimes life needs to throw some fucking shit at you to make you wake up.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's the nice thing. I think with COVID was probably one of those things for a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%. Same again, mate.
Yeah.
It was dipping my toe. Like, I really wanted to jump in that deep end, but I was just putting my toe in it thinking like, oh, what if I sink?
Yeah.
And then someone basically just pushed me, and then I was like, well, I've got to try swim now, but it's bad things are going to happen. So, and COVID was the same. Like,
I think COVID was the same with like, that's the reason how we all get together, right? Like, most online coaches now that are good mates, like I guess like me and you, we talk and things like that. That only came because I'm like, well, he's an online coach, and probably the similar sort of time frame. 2 years ago, probably we've kind of known ish of each other, sort of thing. Maybe a bit less. So it's just like, yeah, there you go. That's because of that reason.
COVID was another one, like sink or swim, I think.
It was like, at the end of the day, like I remember PTing in Covent Garden, central London, and they closed the gym, and I was like, I'm living in London, and I was like, I had to move back to my mum's. She had a single, obviously all her kids moved out. She moved into a fucking cottage, so one of us slept on the floor, one of us slept in the bed, alternated, and we did that for 14 weeks. And I was like, I've got obviously one-to-one coaching in London. They don't know what online is. I was dabbling. I had 4 clients online before I went into lockdown, so I had 400 quid a month. I was charging £100 a month for online. I was like, I can't, like, we've got to live together now. Like, 400 quid isn't going to pay bills. It's not going to do anything. With my mum's self-employed. We're not getting shit from the government. So I'm like, right, let's go. We don't have a choice. We got to survive. My mum, I taught my mum how to use Zoom so she could do a Zoom yoga classes. And that was it. Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy when you look back, and it was just like, it was good fun as well.
Yeah, this is it, mate. 100%. Similar kind of boat. Like, I was really just getting going with my coaching. I'm so thankful that I was online coaching already. I must have had a handful of clients, but majority of it was boot camp. That obviously stopped. So online had to work, or I was going to get, in brackets, a normal job. And it was the same sort of thing. Like, each month, and I'll never ever say anything to any of my clients. Everyone was looking after themselves, and 100% that's the best way I had to be. But month on month, I had like, I'm gonna have to leave. I was trying my best, but you weren't paying for that service, in terms of like, I was doing Joe Wixie online hit stuff, just me flying about in my room, like copy me online kind of thing. And it helped to a degree, but then month on month, people would drop off. And I never had any bad words to say about anyone. And a lot of them have come back since. But they were like, look, I just can't get going at home. Okay, fine, I understand. So I was like, what am I going to do? And that was the day where, like, I was watching my monthly, because I used to track my income and stuff like that. I would watch it kind of each month, just progress, like digress even. So I just paid 500 quid for a business coach each month. Just went straight in, like six grand for the year. I was like, sink or swim. Do you know what I mean? If this doesn't work, like, I needed some guidance. Otherwise, it was just going to carry on. It happened for 2 years in the end, didn't it? So I would have ended up with no money, basically.
I mean, I did
So
the same. I started my first one. I think we went into a lockdown in March, and then
yeah, sounds all right.
started a business coach mid-April.
Yeah, 100%. Because I was like, something's got to give here, and if this doesn't work, then I am on my ass. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
had a little bit of savings, but that was, I was in the process of potentially getting to a point of buying a house. I was just waiting for the 2 years to turn around before I went into it, and yeah, I was like, look, I'm just gonna have to live off my savings and hope that it sorts itself out soon. But I was like, I weren't willing to just do that.
Yeah.
And that was a time, and I feel awful saying it, but because people lost loved ones and lost jobs and stuff, but like COVID was the best thing that ever happened to me as a coach.
Oh, mate, 100%. And at the end of the day, like there's going to be other crises in the world and things like that. But it's a bit like we're in a world recession right now. Like life's pretty tough right now. Like if you look at the pound's pretty shit and things like that, you notice it a lot more. Like cost of living's going up everywhere. Things are getting a bit tighter. I'm like, mate, but this is where things again sink or swim. This is where things triumph. This is where, and I'm like, it's an indicator of the character and the individual and the business that triumph through these times.
Sure.
Like, if you can build a business in COVID, you're fine. Do you know what I mean? You're fine. And I think that even now, I'm like, oh, like it's a bit of a tough time of the year, end of the year's coming up, whatever it is, and things like that. But I'm like, at the end of the day, like fucking, I believe in my coaching, my brand, everything like that. I know everything's going to be fine. The same sort of thing. It gives you that, like when you've gone through a lot of like dark tunnels, and there's that, I know there's light. I know it might not be in next week, it might not be next month, but there is light there.
Completely agree.
So it's
exactly saying, don't get me wrong, I'm working hard and grafting to make sure that I continue what I'm doing, but I never want to take the foot off the pedal somewhat. And I'm always happy with what I've done, but never satisfied, kind of thing. There's always room, and that doesn't always mean earn more money. That just means level up my service, give more to my current clients and stuff like that.
That could just be like actually you getting a bit more time back in the day just to do you and things like that. There's so many ways you can.
What I'm doing, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm the same, honestly. That's why I've enjoyed this kind of like the last couple of weeks of prep. Like I'm just looking after the team. I'm making sure content goes out. I'm documenting everything, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? I'm staying on top of everything. I'm just not doing X amount because I haven't got the energy levels. And it's that simple, man. So it's cool. And I guess the nice thing, what we can transition into now is kind of what's Scott doing now? I haven't really spoke to you massively, I guess, this year. So I guess kind of how's the last 6 to 10 months been?
Good, mate. Yeah, it's really good. I think I found definitely where I want to go. And that's now starting to transition. And in terms of business, like I'm really happy with what I'm building, but I'm making sure that I'm going at the right speed, and again, the business mentor side of things was amazing for me, but I've also taken a bit of a back seat now. And now I want to kind of go on my own journey, take everything that they've mentioned on board, but go at my own pace, because ultimately, like, you're investing into something that you want a quick return, right? But it was almost like I was running on a treadmill without shoes. Like, it was getting tough.
It was when I did it as well.
It was amazing what they were doing, and hats off to them. And
I think you start
ultimately changed my life, but
it did, but I think you sometimes start to sculpt into, you lose clarity a little bit as well.
Oh god, yeah. Like I was just pushing for the next thing, and sometimes you got to go actually sit calm.
I always think of it a bit like a pay rise at work. Like, cool, you do this, and then you just keep being consistent, ticking the boxes. You get a pay rise, earn that pay rise.
100%.
And earn it, and then boom, then earn it. It's a bit like
So I just took a bit of a back seat, sat back, and just looked at the bigger picture. And now I'm in a really good place. And of course, if there's a point where I want to go again, then of course I can do that. But right now I'm in a great spot. With work-life balance, I think I've pretty much found that. I still work hard, don't get me wrong, but I've also got a nice work-life balance. The last 10 to 12 months, I think I've seen like 10 to 12 countries. Whereas before it was just like, you don't spend a pound because you're spending, reinvest back into the business, spend, reinvest. When I was like, actually, like, I'm not done anything that I can say I've done for myself in a little while. So I've gone away and just seen some nice places, done some nice things.
Where have you been? Fill me in. I want to know where you've been.
Mate, God, it sounds like a gloat now. So I went to Mexico and I got engaged. So I did that in start of the year.
Sick, man. Congrats.
I then went on a golf holiday with the boys. Nice. I went to Turkey because I've got my teeth done in Turkey like 2-3 years ago. So I went back just for a little top up. My mate got his done, so I went for a little break there. Where else have I been? I followed Chelsea. So I went away just to Milan the other day, went to Dubai. Should have really,
I was like,
but
who's
you
Chelsea?
went there.
I was a bit like, who's Chelsea?
Yeah,
Who's this?
no, Chelsea Football Club. So
Yeah.
so I went to Milan the other day to watch them. I went out to Dubai, but you weren't in the country at the time.
Yeah.
I did Dubai twice. I've gone, where else have I gone? Went to Portugal. So yeah, I've just gone out and about really. Went to America.
Yeah, sick.
So it's just seeing more of the world really. And I'm getting married in Ibiza, so I've been out to Ibiza a couple of times.
Sick, man.
So yeah, so all systems go really.
When's the wedding?
Next September.
Damn, that'll come around fast.
It will come around very fast. So that's why it's now like done what I need to do. I just need to get back into doing what I'm good at really.
Yeah, that's it. Earn some money for the missus so she can have all the flowers, all the bouquet, the wedding she wants.
Exactly that. Happy wife, happy life, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then when did you we spoke about this kind of off scene, but when did you kind of make transition training wise and things like that? Because mate, honestly, you can tell I'm in prep. I've just looked at your bagels, 2 eggs and bacon for breakfast. I'm like, that sounds fucking good behind you on the whiteboard.
You see that, kind of?
Yeah, mate, I know your whole meal plan, bro. I've looked at it this whole time.
All right, you're taking all my tips. Yeah, so basically I've not even really announced it. I've just put little bits and bobs out. Just because I want to do something for me right now instead of maybe documenting everything. Yeah. When I'm ready, I will. But basically now I've got to the point where like I'm 28, I'm not getting any younger. I'm still young in hindsight, but my body's starting to kind of respond in a negative way to just purely like 10, 12 years, or obviously the early years was just going through the motions. But the last like 5 to 6 years, I've really trained hard and I've done a lot of everything as well. Like I do the whole progressive overload in the gym, bodybuilding the big lifts and stuff like that. I do love that element to it, but it's just creeping up on me a little bit now and I'm getting niggles and I'm not very agile as I used to be and I'm not as fit as I used to be. And I'm just getting a little bit stale is what I would say. So I wanted to do something for me and I like the idea of being a beginner.
Yeah, man.
And I know I'm not the only one doing it.
No, it's like when you don't know shit and it's like, yeah,
pretty much. Like the idea of like going on a ski erg and I'm like, I don't even know. Went on the other day, did like I was like, how do people,
yeah,
how do people do this? So obviously I coach functional training, so I have a good idea of what I'm doing, but I look at it and I'm always like in 6 a.m, I'm looking, I'm like, I would not want to be doing that. Do you know what I mean? But now it's like out of that comfort zone again. Like I'll go in, do a 2-hour session on legs and come out battered and great, get out the next day, do it all over again. But I kind of like the idea of now like being more fit and functional and connecting with my body a little bit more.
Yeah.
So right now, what I've basically done is split my week in half. So 50% functional work, 50% still lifting.
Yeah.
And just see how I go for the next few weeks, few months, maybe. And just see, I'm going to pull off a little bit of body fat, pull off a little bit of weight, and just feel fit is how I basically want to put it. So I'm doing a little bit of running and stuff as well.
Nice. How do you break? Is that 6 times a week? Is that like three sessions of like hybrid, 3 sessions of like kind of lifting, or is it kind of 2 and 3 sort of thing? How have you broken?
So for now, I'm doing 2 and 3, I think. So 2 functional sessions, 3 weight sessions, because I'm also playing football now as well.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah,
it's busy, but I love training. So like I'll train twice a day, every day if I could, but I have to tell myself to have rest days. Yeah. But what I'm finding is because I'm at the early days, I can kind of, don't get me wrong, I'm knackered, but they're kind of like 30-minute blasts for the functional stuff.
You get away with it until your fitness and your intensity.
Yeah. Until my intensity increases, probably the right way to do it. So like even like yesterday, I did 7 a.m. I did my functional work, which was like, I think it was a 2K row, 2K run, 2K skier, 100 wall balls. And that was about 35 minutes. Did my usual day. And then
yeah, it's not the same, is it? Like when you go like, right, we've got 2 hours on legs. It's not the same. It's like when you can break the day up like that, it's like the recovery standpoint's a lot better as well. And then you're like, right, 100%. Half an hour in the morning, and then I'll go for a 45-minute, hour full body, whatever, upper split. Yeah.
Yeah, so then literally 2 o'clock, I went back and trained in like your bodybuilding kind of style
Yeah, nice.
style training. And that worked. And then today I'm pretty much got like a full rest day, just kind of like steps. But I was used to doing like Stairmaster first thing in the morning, then going back for my training later. So the training in the morning and the afternoon thing is not really a big deal for me. It's something that I'm used to.
Yeah, the routine's there. It's
But
just mixing it up a little.
yeah, 100%. Like sometimes I've not had to do cardio. It's not been programmed for me, but I'd still just go and do steps, just that kind of like routine thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like at the moment it's fine, but like you say, as the demands grow, I may then have to reevaluate how I do my split and enjoyment as well. Like it might get to a point right now, I'm loving it because it's new and fresh. And after every session, I'm feeling better.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Like I know there's a lot of people transitioning at the moment. I don't want to look like I'm just jumping on a bandwagon. That's why I haven't really posted about it just yet.
It's the thing is, it's when that thing, it's like for longevity, like at the end of the day, the difference is that you've done kind of bodybuilding, you've done the bulk and cut thing for fucking 5 to 10 years. Do you know what I mean? On the grand scheme of things. And it is that, like, if you look at any kind of athlete's history, like how many athletes do their same, like are at the top for 10 years? Not many.
Yeah, sure.
They make that switch. And I think it's more so like bodybuilding is just, it is about repetitive. And I think the why people make that switch now is that they are just tired of that repetitive kind of, and unless you, then you realize when you've built the muscle kind of to whatever you want, unless you're going to want to be a IFBB pro and go to the Olympia and go on beyond, then you're like, well, I've got a good muscle foundation. It's not going to go and I can look good all year round. And then you realize my business doesn't strive off me having muscle. It strives off me looking aesthetic and things like that and whatever it is. But like, yeah, 100%. I've already planned that. Like I've already planned, right, for the next kind of 2 to kind of 4 years, I'm going to go in. And then after that, man, I'm getting back in a boat. I'm like, yeah, I'll get back hiking 3 times a week. And I want to start kind of dabbling with that sort of stuff. And I'll happily just do like 3 times a week, full body.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I'm thinking now. And funny enough, because even just reducing 5 days to 3 in the kind of bodybuilding lifting kind of route, I feel better already. And it's only been 1 week. Even just mindset wise, I feel better. Like right now, I wouldn't be resting. I'd be going to do another muscle group.
Yeah.
And luckily, I've had a new gym. A couple of my friends have opened up a gym just around the corner from me. So it's quite new and exciting. And that's great. But before that happened, I was really just like going through the motions. Like I'm busting a bollock for 4 weeks to put 5 kilos on an RDL. Do you know what I mean? Like it just wasn't, even when I got it, it wasn't like satisfying me that much.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, because I'm that beginner again,
you see,
I can knock big progress. 100%. You know, I've got a kind of a bit of a program that I'm following, and the program comes out 7 days at a time.
Okay.
So nice. I don't know what I'm doing next week. And if I can stop myself doing it, I don't actually know what session I've got tomorrow without clicking on it and looking. So you could effectively walk through the gym and go, right, what am I doing? Oh shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I kind of like that. Whereas I know in 6 months' time, I'm still going to do the same leg session. Do you know what I mean?
Hack squat, leg press, quad extension.
Yeah, hack squat, whatever it may be. So I don't think I'll ever fall out of love with it, but I think just pulling away from it a little bit has helped me love it more, if that makes sense. Like now I look forward to those 3 sessions.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like when people said, like, when people go like, oh, like, I think it's absolutely like your opinion needs to change, right? If me and you were coaching how we were at 23, we'd be like, oh, what the fuck did you just tell this person to do? Like, do you know what I mean? Sure. Like our opinions change and we grow. And it's the same thing. You might do this for 2 years and actually like, I'm just going to get back to bodybuilding for a year, or I'm just actually going to go fully transition. I'm going to learn Olympic lifting now. So instead of those kind of bodybuilding sessions, I'm going to turn those into Olympic lifting sessions. Like, it's just an evolution of life, and it's absolutely fine for careers to change but like training to change, everything like that. It's supposed to evolve. Like you're not supposed to be just keep doing the same things. Like if you are doing bodybuilding and you want to do it for the future, it's just evolving in that field. But if your involvement just takes you in a different direction, a different path, mate, all for it.
100%. It's exciting, mate. And I want to do some kind of event or some kind of challenge in the future. Not necessarily near future, but
things like that.
Yeah, things like that. Or you've got like High Rocks come out now, which is getting quite popular. which is just an element of loads of things. Like, I love challenging myself, and I challenge myself as much as I can. Like, just randomly climbed Snowdon the other day for fun. Like, I like doing that sort of, yeah. Anything charity comes up, I'm like, right, what can I do? And I'll do all sorts of stuff. Like, I just like that sense of accomplishment. I think it is. I'm always chasing for it.
Amazing, man.
I wasn't getting that from my bodybuilding stuff or bodybuilding training. I'm not a bodybuilder, but like that kind of training, I wasn't walking out going like, I'm buzzing, I've hit 7 PBs or anything like that. It just wasn't, even if I did, I weren't that bothered. It was just another thing I did on that day.
Yeah.
So yeah, just something fresh. And obviously from a business perspective, I feel like it would open up some more doors as well.
It's just going to open up better knowledge as well for you, man. So when you're in your programming and things like that, and
programming especially, I think will take a positive turn, because me posting I'm in the gym has some validation of some kind, that, you know, I'm training, I'm active, I'm whatever. But I also coach lifestyle coaches, clients. So me adding 5 kilos on an RDL for them is here or there. Do you know what I mean? They're not asked. You know, seeing me pull all sorts of X faces is not doing anything for them. Whereas if they're like, oh, that looks quite funny, he's just jumped off that exercise and now he's on this, and, you know, I think it will take a positive effect on my business as well, because that's the sort of stuff that my clientele would want to do. That's why my boot camps do well.
The reason why it will make a positive effect on your business, because it makes a positive effect on you alone. So
yeah, 100%.
You're feeling better and you're enjoying it. You're actually being like, you're going into, when you write a program or you're going in to talk to people, you're a better Scott. That's all it comes down to. Like, if you're feeling better, fitter, healthier, I'm like, guess what? So's the business.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. Completely agree. For me, I'm like all in as well. Like, I always am all in. But the problem is then when I'm slightly out, I'm like here or there with my nutrition. Do you know what I mean? Like, just kind of going with the flow. So yeah, you're right, mate. Like, just having a positive me and doing something for me is going to only be a benefit to everyone else around me. So
will do. Even like things like your missus, she'll notice the difference. She's probably already noticing the difference and things like that, and all this stuff. So mate,
why are you training twice a day again? Said you're calming down.
Yeah, but then you're like, but then I'm fitter, so, you know, we can go for longer. My sex drive's a bit better as well. I'm not getting as fat in the off season, so actually you're benefiting, love.
Just have to break it down that way.
No, that's it. Amazing, man. Honestly, I don't want to keep you too much longer, because we could just ramble on for ages and we can make this well over an hour and a half, even more. So
no, you're good, man.
As a tradition, yeah, that's the one. As a tradition on the podcast, as it's the 1%, if there's one piece of advice that you could tell someone right now that's going to take them 1% further forward tomorrow, what would that be?
Step out your comfort zone. I think so many people, myself included, maybe in my younger days, would just do the bare minimum. Like, do the bare minimum. If you've got to run 3K, run 3.5K, like, just go out of your comfort zone. If something feels okay to do, it's not challenging you. And I've got a slogan on some of my clothing. It's like, if it doesn't challenge you, it ain't changing you.
Yeah, so true.
And that's exactly what I say to my clients, what exactly I say to people around me. I'm like, challenge yourself. It's as simple as that. No matter what field that is, it could be the smallest thing. 8 o'clock, I'm on 9,000 steps. My target's 10. So I'll go bed. No, you go out and get them steps. Like, go out of your comfort zone. And it doesn't, like I say, it doesn't have to be climbing mountains. It's just something that's going to make you think twice about doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, jumping out your comfort zone would be my number one kind of advice.
Amazing, man. Simple, but it's fucking powerful and it'll work. So it's good. And if anyone wants to stalk you, find you, whatever it is, find about boot camps, all this sort of stuff, where do they go? What do they do?
The usual platforms. So it's SR Fitness 365 on your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, usual drill. Yeah, pretty much just that, my man.
Super easy, guys. What I'll do is attach all the Scott's kind of links and stuff in, obviously, the YouTube description and obviously the podcast description as well. Any questions, obviously, just shoot me a message, guys. We're more than happy just to chat shit, as all these podcasts are. But yeah, man, absolutely amazing. Thank you for jumping on and stealing some of your day. Thank you.
No, you appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me on, my man.
Legend. Thank you, bud.
Take it easy.